on Erie, we tend to use heavier things because of current, right? You often have to have minimum of a 1/2 ounce lure, like a buckshot, 1/2, 3/4, something like that. Now, when you put minnows on that, I've weighed them, bro. You're ounce, 1/4 ounce, 1/8, whatever, right? Most of these rods, I call them Minnesota medium. I use that in the seminar. It didn't go over very well. Basically, it means it's like an ultralight for me, right? Yes. And it doesn't present the stuff properly. And I would say one of the best ice fishermen on the planet, and a great friend of mine, producer dude, you know him, Shorty. Shorty is a magician. He is an owl. Like he could fish with owl type of deal, right? And ice fishing, he'd smoke owl. I'm just telling you. I mean, when you have a day with him and you do as good as him, you've just basically broke a world record type of thing. Yes. And like 20 some years ago, he started taking G. Loomis rods, like full G. Loomis SGR 721, 722s. Now, even at that time, 20 years ago, those rods were $300 and some. Yeah. Dude, he cut all the guides off, cut the thing down, and built an ice rod out of it.
Wow.
Now, guess who has an IMX and a GLX who did the same thing? This guy. Nowadays it's a lot better because, I mean, I probably got $600 in those rods, retail. Right. Let alone my time, because I built my own. Yeah. But now G. Loomis has factory rods to 41 inches, right. 39, 41 inches, which even by some guys' standards, I guess is a little bit short. But you can present that lure totally different. I mean, totally.
Dude, and the most expensive ice rod possible just doesn't seem that expensive compared to open water. You know what I mean? You don't have a $700 ice rod.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing is I say this all the time, and people look at me and I'm like, man, I feel like you guys don't understand the elephant in the room. Ice fishing, I've watched these things on camera. They have nowhere to go. Right? They're not battling other things as much. The waves and all that, like on my neck of the woods, they don't move as much, right? The bait's not moving as much. It's not as affected because you have essentially a stabilized temperature. And I know you can argue that, but basically, like the fish are in the barrel and you just need to go to the barrel. But the problem is it's like a swimming pool, right? They have a lot of time to, let's just say, interpret if you're doing a good or bad job of displaying that lure.
For sure.
Right? And again, not those 30 minutes early, 30 minutes late. It's those fish in between that you're going to try to get or not. And having something as simple as a rod, like I designed a series of rods for Clam, the Katana. It's basically a custom rod series with kind of working man's price. The same thing. We got those things out to 42 inches.
Yo.
Which, again, it feels like, man, in 2021, why are we only now getting here? Same thing with the one I designed, that greenback case for Lakewood. It's like there wasn't a good case that could put 44-inch rods. Yeah, there's some of those gun cases or whatever you want to call them, but dude, you can only put a couple rods in something that's just freaking like a giant deal. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you got to feel like you're carrying like an RPG out there. So, I mean, are you surprised it's taken so long? I mean, Thorn Brothers, I think you would have to give them credit for kind of starting this custom craze, but
dude, the long rod thing, it's just once you fish with one and you go to pick up that 28-inch or 30-inch, which like that's been the benchmark or like the typical ice rod for 20 years, 28-inch. You pick that up and you just feel like I'm bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's like you go to set the hook and you're 5 feet above your head and reeling like a psycho to try to catch up and stuff. And it's just like, why do we even make these short ones? I get it if you're in a fish house where you don't have room because the rod tips are hitting or whatever. But I think a few years from now, it's going to be difficult to find 30-inch rods. I mean, I think 40-inch is going to get close to like kind of the normalcy. You're already seeing them up to 44. Everything about it is better other than transportation's a little harder. But now you got companies making cases that are longer. And you're fishing inside is a situation where you need that short stick.